Even with all of the chatter and noise going around the bus, I still managed to doze off a bit. I didn't wake, even with the bus stopping and people pouring out. I don't know how long I was out. I woke to a gentle shake on the shoulder. Thank goodness it was gentle, cause if any more pressure was applied I fear I would have scared whoever it was that was waking me. I'm very sensitive and jumpy. I try keeping my guard up at all times, probably due to my father. I never know when he's going to strike, so I guess I've grown very, very alert. I turned my head to see who it was that woke me. There stood a guy, probably around the same age as me. Sorry to wake you. It's just, well, the teacher's already assigned cabin keys to all of the students. Yours is the only one left, he said, pointing to the exit of the bus. We all assumed that maybe you didn't come on the trip. I just came to get my bag and well, saw you sleeping here, he continued before grabbing his bag. Thanks for telling me. I didn't really plan on falling asleep, I replied shyly, rubbing the sleep from my eyes. I'll fill you in on the briefing the teachers gave to everyone earlier, he said, giving me a faint half smile while nudging his head to the door. I followed him out of the bus in silence. When I got outside, the atmosphere hit me like a punch in the face. The sky was a solid blue, growing lighter near the retreating sun. Crap, I must have been knocked out for some time if the sun was already setting. What time is it? I hiss, rubbing my eyes again. Around 4:20. He answered after studying his watch for a moment. I guess it's good that I got some sleep in though. It's kind of challenging trying to fall asleep, knowing that there's someone in your home that has it out for you. That being my father. He took me over to a stump near a bunch of trees lined up near the ocean. There were several things littered about, making it look like a camp. I heard voices of cheerful students coming from many directions. It seems they've already gotten settled into their cabins. All right, so, this is your key. He pointed to a single key lying in a box on the stump. It has your cabin number, but if you aren't sure where to go it should be right in that direction. He pointed to my west. We'll be having a tour of the town tomorrow. The teacher said we get extra credit if we come along. He cracks a goofy smile. I couldn't help but to let it sneak onto my face. I looked up at him and the sun hit my eye, making me squint a little. The day after we'll go hiking in the mountains and forest nearby. I'm all about that extra credit, man. He let out a slight chuckle. I'm not here for the extra credit, I don't care about my grades, I know I won't be going to college anyway, due to the lack of support. I came here to get some time away from home. I suppose the tours could be fun though. The teachers have a schedule near the main building, so if you need any more help, head there. I'm sure you can tell, but the school can be a little scatterbrained at times, so if something doesn't make sense you can always come to me. My cabin number is 4. He explained, pointing in the directions. That would explain why I was able to fake my father's signature without them questioning it. I mumble, mentally rolling my eyes. Wait, what? He asked, sounding confused. Nothing. I replied quickly, shooting my eyes in the opposite direction of him. Anyway, I'm off, he said, grabbing his backpack and heading east. Oh, one more thing. Dinner is at 6:30, near the center of the park, he says, spinning my way with a raised finger. He turned back and continued walking. Thanks for the help, I forcefully squeeze out, raising my voice. He turned halfway and gave me a little smile before disappearing behind a cabin. I sat in my spot thinking a little before lifting my stuff and carrying it towards my cabin. The line of trees casting beautiful shadows over the park was like something from a movie or painting. The ocean air only added to the already pleasing atmosphere. While heading off to my cabin I looked around and saw many of the students already enjoying themselves. I was a little shocked they weren't all on their phones. Like the guy said earlier, the school was a bit scatterbrained and forgot to ban cell phones. I brought mine in case I needed it for anything. I won't be receiving or giving any calls though, cause my contact list is totally empty. After a couple minutes of walking I finally reached cabin 20. When I took to the stairs I heard footsteps cross the deck. I spotted the source of the noise. It was a guy heading for the door. Excuse me, is this cabin 20? I asked just to be sure. I didn't want to walk into the wrong cabin and make a total fool of myself. He turned around and, oh crap, it's one of the attractive guys I mentioned earlier. I suddenly got nervous in his presence. I felt like nothing in comparison to him, which intimidated me greatly. I don't know what I would do if we were sharing a cabin. Yeah, can I help you? He asked, looking pretty confused. His look made me a little nervous, so I started playing with the strap of my backpack. Well, my key says this is where I'm supposed to be staying. I clumsily pull it out of my pocket, almost dropping it. I held it up to him while trying to cover my embarrassment. Oh, so you're the kid that didn't show earlier, huh? He sighed. I guess I won't have a whole cabin to myself after all. Wait, did he just say we're sharing a cabin? Together? Me and him? Alone? Sorry. I quietly apologized, lowering my head. I didn't want to burden anyone while on this trip, but it seems like I'm already causing problems. It's cool, you seem like an okay dude at least. He gave me a half smile before heading through the door. I could swear I felt my heart skip a beat. After recovering from my little moment, I struggled carrying my bag up the steps. I filled it with snacks and books in case they didn't give us any here. I finally managed to work my way up the steps and through the door with the little pantry stuffed inside my bag. Upon entering the house, I spotted the kitchen to my left, and a little down the hall off to the right was a merged bedroom and living room, and a bathroom to the left. There's a door at the end of the hall which I assume leads to the backyard. I made my way to the bedroom and saw the guy sitting on the bed. He glanced at me a second before going back to whatever he was doing. I dropped the heavy bag on a bed placed on the opposite side of the room from the guy's. I sat on the bed with my legs crossed and pulled out a book from my bag. I planned on reading the rest of the day. It felt very unusual having a stranger in the same bedroom as me. I peeked at him a few times before opening my book. I heard him ruffling through some of his things before coming to an abrupt stop. He turned my way and started speaking, almost startling me. Name's Iwaizumi. Yours? He asked before going back to rummaging through his stuff. I'm Oikoa Toru. I answer, surprised he cared enough to ask. He let out a breathy laugh before speaking again. Sounds pretty dorky. I gave him a little smile knowing it was a joke before going back to my book. It seemed like he found what he was looking for because all of the noise stopped. A moment later he turned my way again. I want to set some rules, since we'll be living together for a week in this cabin. I bring my eyes up to him once more and give him a slight nod, even though I was worried as to what he might propose. Tell me in advance when inviting any friends over, and please, no parties. He spoke soft but stern. It's okay, I don't have friends anyway. I replied as blandly as I possibly could, but a little sadness escaped with my words. I looked back down to my book, and the room washed with silence once again. After a minute Iwaizumi spoke again. You have any rules you wanna lay down? He asked, playing with his hand and looking over to me. I felt very nervous having his attention on me, but at the same time I felt content being in his presence. Why yeah. My only rule is that you not restrain yourself because of me. You can do whatever you want. Though I would ask for some peace and quiet every once in a while. I responded, then gave him a shy half smile. He smiled back, only his was much brighter. I'll be out back, he announced. It looked like he was holding his phone and a pair of earbuds, so I assume he's going to listen to music. I gave him another half smile before going back to my book. I heard his footsteps slowly growing quieter until he reached the back door. When he left, the cabin was peaceful, with no other sound than the pages of my book. Before I knew it, 2 hours had already passed. I spent so much time wrapped up in reading that alien fiction novel. I find that reading is a good distraction from the rest of the world. It's an escape that I greatly need. I could feel the loneliness starting to kick in though. That guy mentioned dinner was around 6, and I'm quite hungry. I decided to check if Iwaizumi was still in the backyard. If I'm lucky we could head to dinner together, That is if he hasn't already gone. I hopped up from my bed and tugged on my shoes before heading for the door. The moment I swung it open, the enticing ocean smell and evening breeze came rushing through the house. The fresh air placed a smile on my face. That smell of the cool evening always made me feel nostalgic for some reason. Directly out the back there was a small deck with stairs leading down to a grassy floor. If I had known that it was so peaceful, I would have chosen this as my reading area. I walked slowly through the backyard, taking in the scenery. Everything out here was truly breathtaking. After gazing around for a while, I caught a glance at a beautiful hill, and someone on it, that someone being Iwaizumi. He was laying there, with his earbuds in. I stopped to stare for a moment, folding my arms, trying to shield myself from the oncoming breeze. He noticed my presence, and patted the ground next to him. I looked around for a moment, searching for any other soul around. He couldn't mean me, could he? He patted again, looking straight at me. I could feel my heart ready to burst. Did he really mean for me to come over? I slowly and hesitantly made my way to his side. I pointed to myself and looked around once again, making sure he meant me. He replied and confirmed it with a smile. So I laid beside him on the grassy hill. You're a quiet one, aren't you? Iwaizumi chuckled to himself. Sorry, I'm just not used to conversing with people, I replied moments later. I felt bad about it, but it wasn't really my fault, to be honest. No, it's all right. I like quiet. He laughed a little while readjusting himself on the hill. Hearing that made me feel at ease. I didn't have to force myself to keep up a conversation if I didn't want to, or start one either. It's been forever since I've been relaxed around someone like this. He seems like a jock, but he's still pretty nice. I merged myself with the grass and laid still for a while. I felt something being placed up against my ear, so I jerked my head in Iwaizumi's direction. He had placed one of his earbuds in my ear and had the other in his. He let out a breathy laugh at my reaction, then returned his eyes to the sky. I was really surprised at how friendly he was being. When I saw how he acted at school, I assumed he was like that all the time, grumpy, bossy, and annoyed. I just decided to bask in the moment. The music playing from Iwaizumi's phone was actually very good. I've never really listened to this type of music much, but now that I've heard this, I can say I like it. I turned my eyes to the sky and watched as the purple, pink and yellow clouds drifted across the horizon. I felt myself getting sleepy and my eyelids growing heavy. Even after that long nap I took earlier, I couldn't stay awake. I gave in and dozed off, forgetting about dinner. I finally got off of that dreadful bus. So many annoying students, pestering me and everyone else. I came here for a break from all of the craziness going on in my life. My mum and dad constantly invite their loud, annoying friends over. 95% of mine are annoying, but at least I don't invite them to the house. The only time I ever really get a break is if I sneak off to the park. I get to relax a little, lay back and unwind. My friends found out that I'm usually at the park when they can't get a hold of me, so nowadays my peace and quiet only lasts for so long. Their clinginess gets me riled up. They can be so annoying that I start yelling. They've gotten used to it and tend to ignore it these days. When I heard the school would be taking a trip, a wonderful idea popped into my head. I knew that one or more of my friends would ask me if I was going, so I'd just tell them I'm not. By the time they figured out I was lying, it was already too late for them to sign up. I can't imagine how they are feeling right about now. I was one of the first out the bus door. I couldn't stand to be around those idiots a second longer. I stretched, feeling tight from being cramped in the back by so many people. When everyone got off the bus, the teachers led us to an area where they gave us the schedule of things going on in the park. Dinner at 6:30, tomorrow they'll take a tour of the local town, the day after will be the mountain hike. I didn't come here for extra credit. My grades are pretty good as is, though going hiking doesn't sound too bad. They began handing us our keys. After giving me my key, they called out for the last person, and they were nowhere in sight. We waited a couple of minutes for them to show, but in the end, they didn't. We figured they never made it on the bus. I was actually happy they didn't make it because I have a whole cabin to myself. Since we were the last two chosen, we would have shared a cabin, but now I have it all to myself. After one of the teachers gave us a quick rundown of the rules, I headed off to my cabin. It couldn't have been in a better area. It's spaced away from most of the cabins and the grass is greener on this side of the park. I ran up the stairs and unlocked the door. The first thing I did was check the fridge, and to my luck it was packed. Not everything in there was edible raw, but I have some experience cooking, so I may be able to prepare some of it. The next thing I did was check the bedroom. It looked pretty cozy. Had 4 beds, 2 on each side of the room with one below the other. I chose the one on the left closest to the large bay window. I dropped my rather light bag on the bed and unpacked my stuff. I bought a couple changes of clothes, my phone, and a couple towels, cause there is no way I'm using the ones here, unless they are brand new, and also, few other things I left in my bag. I grabbed my towels and headed for the bathroom. It's a bit tight, but everything fits well enough. It looks pretty clean too. I hung my towels on the towel rack near the sink before exiting. My phone was blowing up for a while. I didn't bother checking it because I knew exactly why I was receiving so many notifications. I eventually did give in sometime later and scrolled through all of my messages. I'm glad I did, cause reading them made me chuckle a bit. Where the hell are you, man? OMG, you better not have lied to me. Why didn't you tell me? I'm not letting you out of my sight when you get back. NVM Meter just told me you went off on that trick. How cruel. Those were only a couple out of the dozens. The number of texts I received made me sigh. I took some time to reply to them and ended up having most of the conversation going in circles. I got fed up with all of them and blocked their IDs. I don't want to deal with them when I'm trying to relax. I sighed when I realized how much time I wasted chatting with them. I got pretty frustrated and stuffed my phone back in the bag. I decided now would be a good time to take a little walk and explore the exterior of the cabin. I exited from the back door and strutted down the stairs of the small deck. The backyard is stunning. I was amazed I got all of this to myself. The grass was short and green, making it easy to walk through. I came across a sweet-looking hill. This would be my new resting place for sure. I plopped myself down for a second, feeling the soft grass hitting my back. I wanted to listen to music, so I got back up and headed towards the front door, admiring the landscape on the way. The front also has a deck, so I took the stairs on the side of the house leading up to it. I was heading for the door when I heard a voice. Excuse me, is this cabin 20? I turned to meet with a young guy. He seemed a little lost. Yeah, can I help you? I replied, stretching the A. He seemed rather shy. Well, my key says this is where I'm supposed to be staying. He spoke, still sounding unsure, before pulling a key from his pocket and holding it up to me. Oh, so you're the kid that didn't show earlier, huh? I sighed. I guess I won't have a whole cabin to myself after all, I said, making it obvious that I was disappointed. Sorry, he said quietly. At least he wasn't loud and rude like my friends. It's cool, you seem like an okay dude at least, I say before heading back inside. He didn't seem like a bad person. He just seems a bit timid, and maybe a little shy. I headed straight for my bag and rummaged through it, looking for my phone. It couldn't have gotten that deep when I tossed it in here earlier. I heard footsteps at the doorway and glanced up to spot the boy from earlier. I returned my gaze to my bag and went back to searching for that blasted phone. The boy seemed to be settling in. He brought a pretty large bag. I wonder what he has inside. It got pretty frustrating thinking of him as the boy, so I introduced myself and asked him his name. Name's Iwaizumi. Yours? I start, before returning to my bag. I'm Oikoa Toru. He looked flustered for a moment, which I found kind of adorable. Can't say that for any other guy I've met. I chuckled a little before responding. Sounds pretty dorky. He smiled a little then returned to his book. That very moment I found my phone, mentally sighing from relief. I figured now would be a good time to lay down some rules. I don't know much about this Oikoa. He could be a total party animal or rowdy around friends. Still, I spoke to him as politely as I could. I want to set some rules, since we'll be living together for a week in this cabin. He looked my way, worried but still nodded. Tell me in advance when inviting any friends over, and please, no parties. I tried being as clear as possible, while trying not to sound mean. It's okay, I don't have friends anyway. He responded with hurt obviously in his tone. I suddenly regretted starting the conversation. For a moment I tried thinking of a way to apologize, without actually saying sorry. You have any rules you wanna lay down? I asked, getting a bit nervous waiting for his answer. I couldn't help but to start playing with my hands. I guess that's sort of my way of apologizing. Why yeah. My only rule is that you not restrain yourself because of me. You can do whatever you want. Though I would ask for some peace and quiet every once in a while. He stated. I immediately felt like a villain after hearing his response. He made me seem like a total asshole in comparison. When he broke a shy smile I couldn't help but to smile back. He seems like a real good person. I'll be out back. I announce. I have my phone and earbuds, so it's time to relax on that hill in the backyard like I planned earlier. He looked up at me again and gave me a half smile before returning his eyes to the pages of his book. I made my way down the small hall and out the back door. The breeze felt refreshing. I'd have to make a note to open the windows in the bedroom. Spending the nights on my bed with the air blowing in through the windows would be just what I need. When I got to the hill I fell back onto the soft cushiony grass. I popped out my phone and began putting a playlist together. It took me a while but it was definitely worth it. The time I finished was when the moment the sun started to set, casting the sky in a purple hue. The tracks I chose for my playlist fit the atmosphere perfectly. After relaxing for a while I popped my head up to the noise of a door opening. Out came Oikoa. He strolled elegantly through the backyard, admiring the scenery. I returned my eyes to the sky watching the clouds. I looked around the backyard a little while later to see if Oikoa was still present, and sure enough he was. He had his gaze on me, so I patted the ground next to me inviting him over. He looked around probably checking if anyone else was out here. I patted the ground once more and he came over. He curiously pointed to himself. I couldn't help but to smile, he's such a goof. He finally came closer and laid on the hill next to me. You're a quiet one aren't you? I say, letting out a laugh. Sorry, I'm just not used to conversing with people. He softly responded. He seems like a really nice guy. I wonder why he doesn't have any friends. No, it's all right. I like quiet. I reply, readjusting myself on the hill. He seemed to loosen up a little after our conversation. He got comfortable on the hill. I didn't want to be listening to music while he laid there bored, so I took one of my earbuds and placed it in his ear. He jerked his head in my direction a bit startled. I couldn't hold back a laugh after witnessing his reaction. I turned my sights to the sky once again, feeling the most relaxed I've been in ages. Oikoa seemed to be enjoying the moment, and for some reason I felt content that he was. He fell asleep several minutes later. He seemed exhausted when he arrived, so I don't blame him. I scanned his sleeping appearance and noticed how peaceful he looked. I stretched my arms out in the grass, making sure not to touch Oikoa. I didn't want to wake or startle him. He let out a little sigh before turning my way and cuddling against my side. He placed his hands on the side of my ribs and his head on my shoulder. His nose was almost touching my cheek. He let out gentle breaths against my neck. I was surprised by this unusual situation, but for some odd reason I wasn't uncomfortable with it. It actually felt pleasing, in a way. The heat from his soft body took the chill of the night air away. Though his gentle huffs sent small shivers down my spine. We both seemed to be quite comfy, so I didn't want to move. I found myself slowly drifting off to sleep. I never thought I'd find myself in this position. I didn't think I could be this comfortable around a guy. Just being in the presence of my male friends makes shudder. I can't even imagine being in this type of position with them. Me and Oikoa ended up sleeping the whole night outside. After snuggling against me he didn't move an inch.